what we saw then over the last few months is really a triple whammy, right? So any one of these things would have knocked over the apple cart, and instead we got all three. So what did we get? We got in the hottest markets, we got a massive amount of new supply, which was entirely predictable. This happens in every cycle. All the hot markets, that's where all the lenders feel comfortable lending. It's easy to get money to build there, so everybody builds there, right? And then with some of these places like Florida and Texas, where you layer in this like massive population growth, it made everybody feel like, oh, well, this is obviously a slam dunk. You can't lose proposition. So everybody piles in. So what happens? Oversupply. So on that basis alone, a lot of these deals would have been in trouble because you've got some of these hot markets where vacancy is now like scraping up against 10% market-wide, right? And all these deals were underwritten to a 5% vacancy. Now you're looking at 10%, and it's not just 10% vacancy. When you got 10% vacancy, you're giving away a lot of concessions. So your economic vacancy is growing too. So on that basis alone, a lot of deals would have gotten into trouble. Now, if you're really well capitalized, you've got money to put into the deal, you can probably ride it out. You'd be fine in the long run when absorption, picks up again in a couple of years. But you also, at the same time, so that's one factor. At the same time, you had in some of these states, especially Texas and Florida, massive unpredicted rises in insurance, right?
And taxes, yeah.
Well, and taxes, yeah. So I was going to actually say that as well. But insurance and then property taxes, right? So those expenses just went through the roof, right? And so you've got an oversupply. So you've got less income coming in, you got more expense going out. And then, as you and I have talked many, many times, the key to staying out of trouble with the banks with multifamily real estate is your debt service coverage ratio. You have to maintain a debt service coverage ratio of 1.25x to stay out of trouble. Now, things got so heated that banks at the get-go were lending on deals that were at 1.25x at the time that they were purchased, on the promise that, well, they're going to do a value add and it's going to get better, or there's so much rent growth, we're just going to grow out of this issue and we'll all be fine. However, look what happened when you've got either expenses rising or revenue decreasing, and look what happened. You got both. And then on top of that, as you and I discussed many times, everybody was doing these deals with variable rate debt, floating rate debt, because they were trying to squeeze a couple of extra points of return out to make the deal make sense. They could get a little better pricing on those deals to make the deal make sense. And nobody thought interest rates would go up. Some people were prudent and bought rate caps. Some people didn't, which is unbelievable. But even the people who bought rate caps now are doing capital calls just to cover the next rate cap payment, because those rate cap, people were buying rate caps for $30,000 in 2020. Now they cost $1 million, right, for the same rate cap. And so, and you're not meeting your DSCR requirement either because the interest rate has gone up. So a lot of these deals are now just completely in trouble, right?